witness there's no one worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we send our blessings and salutations upon Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we also thank the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala ajma'een. Wallahi, my brothers and sisters, my dear students, if it was really not for the Sahaba, me and you wouldn't be doing what we do today, worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the way He was to be worshipped. Today, in the history, I'm going to speak very little. I've only got one hadith to speak about. Alright, this hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam comes with 5 advices. And it's something I want to leave you with. And this hadith is of Sahl ibn Sa'd radiallahu anhu, and it's mentioned in Hakim al-Mustadrak. And Jibreel alayhi salam comes to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he says, قال جاء جبريل عليه السلام إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال يا محمد عيش ما شئت فإنك ميت. And then he said, the second advice, ومن أحببت فإنك مفارق. And then he said, وَاعْمَلْ مَا شِئْتَ فَإِنَّكَ مُجْزِيٌ بِهِ. And then he said, ثم قال يا محمد شرف المؤمنين قيام الليل وعذ استغناه عن الناس. And basically the 5 advices that he gave him, the first one was إِعْشْ مَا شِئْتَ فَإِنَّكَ مَيِّتٌ. He said, live your life in whatever way you like, because one day you're going to die. And then he said, and love whoever you wish to love. Why? Because one day you'll be separated from that person. And then he said, وَاعْمَلْ مَا شِئْتَ فَإِنَّكَ مُجْزِيٌ بِهِ. That work in this dunya, end of this you will be paid for whatever you brought forward. And then he said the second last advice, which is a great advice, he said, ثُمَّ قَالَ يَا مُحَمَّدْ شَرَفَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ قِيَامُ اللَّيْلِ. He said the sharaf, the honor, the dignity of a believer is in the night prayers. وَعِزُّ الْإِسْتِغْنَاءُ عَنِ النَّاسِ. And the izzah, the honor of a believer is from being independent from the people. So basically what he's trying to say, that if you are asking Allah and you're dependent to Allah and not dependent to humans. Now, this hadith started with Jibreel alayhi salam saying, قال يا Muhammad. So he actually came and he said to Muhammad, Ya Muhammad. So he did not say Ya Nabi. It's not an advice for the Prophet. He humanized him. He called him as a human being. And he said that advice for all of us that sit over here. And the advice is that for everyone, understand that we can live whatever we like, but one day we are going to die. كل نفس ذائقة الموت. That one day we all are going to taste death. You know how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to us, إِنَّكَ مَيِّتٌ وَإِنَّهُمْ مَيِّتُونَ. That indeed you will die and indeed we will die. That's everyone. That's Allah is saying we all are going to die. So that shows there is a purpose in this life. We're not here without a purpose. We're not here stranded. We're not here to live our life to the way we want. There is something that we have to do. And then the same ayah, the same surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ثُمَّ إِنَّكُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ عِنْدَ رَبِّكُمْ تَخْتَصِمُونَ. That on the day of judgment, you all are going to be standing in front of Allah and you'll be arguing. So we all are going to be arguing and say, you know what, I'm here and I'm going to hellfire because of you. You told me to do this. You told me to do this. And then Allah clearly pictures that this is going to happen on the day of judgment. And then the second advice that came from this hadith was, love whoever you wish, because one day you are going to be separated. So no matter who we love in this life, make your choices really, the choices have to be right. If you love someone that is not someone that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to love, then you will be in great trouble on that day, and myself included. And how do we know what to love? We can see this from the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is the hadith of Anas bin Malik. He says that يَتْبَعُ الْمَيِّتُ الثَّلَاثِ, that your grave, your body, it is followed by three. It says أَهْلُهُ وَمَالُهُ وَعَمَلُهُ, that your family follows it, your money will follow it, and your deeds will follow it. Two things will return back, and that's مَالُهُ وَأَهْلُهُ, and one thing will stay, and that's عَمَلُهُ, and your amal will stay there. So make sure you love and you do things for the sake of Allah that you want to keep in your grave. It's not what will leave you. So be very mindful of the choices that you're making in your life. And the third one, do as you wish, because you will be repaid on the day of judgment. And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ. Allah will bring everything forward, and we will see everything in front of us on that day. So be very mindful that what you're doing and the works that you're doing in this world, because that will all come in front of us. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, لَيْسَ بِأَمَانِيكُمْ وَلَا أَمَانِي أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ, that it's not, paradise is not from wishful thinking. It's not from wishful thinking that people think that one day Allah is going to forgive us and everything's going to be okay, like the people of book think. Allah says, مَنْ يَعْمَلْ سُوءًا يَجْزِ بِهِ, that if you are doing something bad, you will be given that on the day of judgment. So don't think that I'm going to rely on Allah on that day. Why? Because He's going to forgive me of everything. No, it will not work with wishful thinking. There's no wishful thinking on that day. So ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from the ones who take heed from these advices, and we learn, and we follow our lives according to the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله لي ولكم استغفر الله إنه الغفور الرحيم. اللهم صل وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Two more things in the hadith, and one of those is one of the most important things in our life. And did you know that, children, that Qiyamul Layl was from Salah before these 5 salawat came? All Sahabas, all Anbiya, they prayed Qiyamul Layl. Rasulullah never left Qiyamul Layl. Sahabas never left it. And what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? The honor is the one that you stand up in the night and pray. You know what? In our life, we're looking for everyone's recognition. We want to post something so people can see it. I can beautify my voice so people can listen to it. But Qiyamul Layl is something where everyone's sleeping. You're in the court of Allah. You stand up alone, and you're in the assembly of divine, and Allah watches you. How many of us are sleeping at that time? I'll tell you some of the Sahabas. One of the greatest Sahabi that can come to mind is Usayd ibn Hudayr. And his Qiyamul Layl, it's mentioned that when he would pray, the angels would come down to listen to his Quran. One day, he started his Salah, Qiyamul Layl, and he wanted to pray Surah Al-Baqarah. And his horse started playing up. It spooked. And so he went to calm it down, and then he came back. And it kept on happening the whole night. But he saw an illumination in the sky, a light that was spreading all over. And he went to Rasulullah and he said it. What was that? He said, there were the angels who came to listen to your tilawah. Now let's ask ourselves, how many of us really have prayed Qiyamul Layl? Sahaba said they never miss Qiyamul Layl. Umar ibn Khattab would say, if you do not pray Qiyamul Layl, then you could not be called someone who is loyal to Allah. And when we look at our lives, mashallah, we'll probably pray Qiyamul Layl only in Ramadan. And there is no other qiyamul layl that we can find. And the last advice was that do not find the honor in people. And do not be dependent on people. Why? If we are dependent on people, if we are trying to please this one and that one day will come that we are not going to be able to please everyone. Over here in the school, let's be honest, there's so many people that don't like me. There's so many people that like me. But really, it doesn't matter to me, not really. Why? Because we all have to please Allah. If we are pleasing Allah, it really doesn't matter if people like you or not. And that was the last message. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from the ones who follow the advice and to listen to the advice and then follow the advice.